Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope you're doing well. So, with the huge problem of pimp culture going on in America for quite some time, but now it's gotten even worse with porn becoming more mainstream, women in colleges doing OnlyFans to pay for college, and Hollywood and the music industry pushing it, and schools are pushing books that are really disgusting on their banned book list. Usually they deal with the Rainbow Mafia agenda. So we're being overly saturated in sexual stimulation. And we're not really teaching the youth proper skills. And we don't really focus on keeping marriages together. So the mom and dad are both disunited in how they're trying to look after their children. And so, one thing I'd want to tell girls who might be thinking of going into the pimp culture, to the sex lifestyle, is that it's not a ticket out. It's a ticket into hell. You may be thinking that you're some glamorous chick who is getting paid and you're in control simply because you get your hand out and then they give you the money and you feel like, oh, I bought clothes, I bought perfume, I get to go out to eat, I'm somehow in control of this situation. But in reality, you have unforeseen consequences down the pipeline: diseases, abortions, and a horrible reputation that is going to also make you very lonely. You doing that lifestyle is going to really hurt you because it's not going to solve any of your problems. It's going to create more. And the truth of the matter is, acting virtuous, closing your legs, is a better ticket out of hell, as they say, if you're living in a very bad neighborhood, than opening your legs to any Tom, Dick, and Harry who wants to pay you. You have to really recognize that. And any pimp or pimptress who tells you, oh, you can just do it temporary, you can just do it for this amount of time, and it's going to be so easy to quit. Rather, what's most likely to happen is you rationalizing to yourself that you should keep doing that job. And you may be thinking you'll be able to hide it, people won't find out, but you are going to break the heart of your mother and father if they're good people. And that's going to hurt you even worse, as it should. And then, when you find out good men don't want you, because most good-hearted men don't want to be embarrassed by having a woman who has sold her parts so cheaply to strangers. When there are women who had the same tough, rough circumstances but chose the higher road. So, again, it's really important to make sure you don't get groomed by a pimp or by a pimptress, because the pimps, they use women to also sell you this false idea. And if the money doesn't work, if the drugs don't work, if the flashy lifestyle doesn't work, if the mental manipulation, the satanic hold upon your mind doesn't work, they'll send in a woman, because women have this weird sisterhood sometimes that comes out. Young girls who never had a mother figure or are very insecure get dominated spiritually by women who do have that sort of temporary sexual allure that drugs haven't eroded. And that's a different energy that some naive girls don't know how to navigate. They don't know how to pick up on the signal that this woman is a red flag. Okay? All the makeup and the dinosaur nails and the very long eyelashes and the hoochie mama attitude, even the glam girl attitude of poshness, vogueness, There are those styles as well. They can fool you and they can lead you astray and sell you a ticket to hell that's going to groom you. And so I would argue that if you think that's a noble route, I say you're choosing an easy way out that will have harder routes later on as well. You're going to face horrible memories. You're going to be disgusted with yourself later on. When you think of the smells of each guy, you bond with one, you think he's going to, take you away, get you out of that situation, when in reality, he's just saying whatever he can say so that he can start sleeping with you without having to pay for it. You've monetized yourself in the most sickly manner. And if a man has put you up to this, you have to break away from someone like that. And I know it can be very difficult. I know it can be very hard for a young girl who doesn't have a dad, doesn't have a brother to care about her, and doesn't have any positive female role models who are strong in a sense of their morality and chastity, to encourage her to take the more noble route. Close your legs, be chaste, do your prayers, become better, and find fulfillment in other ways. You don't have to compete with everyone in the monetary sense to the point where you would sell yourself. Because the real losers are the ones who earn hellfire through their actions. And the more people you sleep with for money, the more bad memories you create, and the more you can never be trusted around decent women's husbands. You are making yourself a risk to yourself and others because your morality is at question, because most people recognize you'll do much as long as there's money to meet your standard, to meet your demand. And that isn't a ticket to friendship. It's not a ticket to happiness. It's not a ticket to paradise. It's not a ticket to family. It's not a ticket to a good husband. It's not a ticket to pain removal of your past. You're incurring pain upon pain and masking it with shopping. And that self-decay that you are doing to your own self will also push you to have self-hatred and drug addiction. And the drugs will erode your beauty, and when you no longer have beauty, you can't compete. And either way, all beauty fades. And then where will you be? An old, wrinkled, tired up, beat up looking chick who's been just stretched out from here to there. And the pimp who got you into that, he's not gonna help you. And neither will the pimptress. Do you really also, think about it. Do you want to be old and raggly looking, grunge looking, and working in that field? No. There's nothing wrong with taking the more humble route of minimalism, of just a calm life. You don't have to always chase money. When a pimp puts money in your face, it's like that laser pointer in front of a cat. Be careful where you point that laser, because it could lead you into, a garbage can. Don't get tricked by the glitz and glamour. It's not the end all be all. And as you're laying in your bed, crying from the trauma because some customer did something to you you didn't want to do, or you're just mentally exhausted from that, or you're having low self-esteem, the shoes, your jeans, your nail job, they're not going to fulfill you. And those same men will turn around and think that you're the scum of the earth. They'll laugh at you behind your back. They'll tell you any fancy lie to your face. And they're not going to face the same social stigma as you. You have to recognize that. A pimp can go get a wife, right? They can go get a wife. Some women will forgive them and be with them. It's much harder for a woman who has had, over 300, 400 bodies to get a good man who will be a safe father for her children, and he'll want to, be with you, bring you home to his good family. And the risk of getting a bad husband or a bad boyfriend for people who aren't Muslim is substantially high when you've entered into that sex lifestyle. And you have to know this. It's hard for people to really think about it because so many YouTubers promote it, so many celebrities promote it, but it's really not what you think it is. Sometimes life is better being calm and peaceful with a lot of harmony than fast, chaotic, and depraved. And you can learn to adapt to a more calmer lifestyle. You don't have to be drinking and sleeping around and letting a pimp manage your affairs in that regard. Because, like I said, it's not a ticket out of anything. It's a ticket into something. And it's a ticket into something that you won't be able to buy your way out of. So go ahead and think about that. And I really hope that you think deeply about being around pimps, being around pimptresses, and I really hope that you make the right decision and you find better role models, because it's a very sad thing when you see good people fall for those traps. And a lot of pimps never change. So if you're falling in love with a pimp, you've lost the plot. You really have. You really have. You need to run away from those who know how to manipulate and crack the mind of a woman to the point where she would sell her holes to strangers. That's a very powerful form of Satanism. And I encourage you to run from those types. Stay far away from them and get around people who would never even think of pushing you to sell your body. So be strong, be wise, and if you're not Muslim, explore what Islam says about gender roles, about marriage, and more, and maybe you'll come to a conclusion that will satisfy you. Okay? Think about what I said, because it's quite sad seeing so many young girls go that dark, disgusting route, and it's quite scary, I'd have to say. And so it's up to us women to speak out against pimp people and human trafficking, prostitution, brothel culture, porn culture, you name it. We have to fight against it, not spread it. And if we remain silent, we're helping it to pass around. So consider what I said and take care now. Okay? I want you to take care of yourself. And man, it's a very serious subject for today, but sometimes, you gotta get on here and talk about some serious topics. So be safe and take care.